This is actually like a very rare bioluminescent grasshopper that was like
What?
manufactured in a lab somewhere.
A lab-made bioluminescent grasshopper?
That like
just f***ing you
just
up?
f***ed you up. That
Who's
was like,
also violent as
yeah, that was a theory. All right, everybody, welcome to episode 3.
Episode 3 of Ectoplasm and Evil. Let's go.
I can't believe we're 3 episodes in. That's crazy to me.
That's wild. I notice every time I come in, I say Ectoplasm and Evil. Let's go. Is that a cool? Should I come up with a new thing?
I think that's cool.
It's working,
I think it works.
right?
I think it's like, yeah, let's go. We're pumped up. We're hyped. We're ready.
See, okay, but we got to decide if I'm going to commit to that, because if I keep saying it, it's going to become a thing.
I mean, I think it's fair that it becomes a thing. I feel like that's your typical way of speaking about anything.
I mean, that's why I'm doing it. That's my typical way of speaking. I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm excited to do this. So, I mean, yeah, Ectoplasm and Evil, let's go. I mean, that's okay. That's just what it is.
That's valid.
That's what came natural. That's what came off the top 3 times in a row.
So it's time.
And
That's
so
what you got to keep.
that's just how we introduce the podcast now.
Yeah, that's it.
One
of these days I'll fade off the episode number, but like I'm just so excited that we're even 3 episodes in.
You know,
at
it's
this point.
still early, so it's valid to be announcing the episode numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's up
Eventually
to everybody
we'll stop.
out there, you know, listening in? If you made it to episode 3, shout out to you.
Yeah, honestly, shout out to you. The fact that you're here, that means the world, because we couldn't be doing this without you.
Couldn't be doing it without you, you know. Tell a friend to tell a friend, you know. That's how we keep making more of these.
That's right. Word of mouth. It travels. In case you didn't notice, we switched our setup back to the original setup.
Yeah, you know, we're just trying new things out. That's all. You know, so today we were feeling this setup. You know, we installed a new light in our living room, so we decided we would make use of that. It's a Philips light. I shouldn't even be saying that because they're not sponsoring us.
They're not sponsoring this.
But you know what? Maybe they should.
Maybe.
Maybe they
it's,
should.
it's giving us.
I mean, I got those in my booth. I got them in the bedroom.
Yeah.
I got them here. Yeah, so we got it, you know, set to a nice little purple shade.
Yeah, so if
it's
you're
spooky. If you're watching, maybe you could see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we decided to switch back to this setup. I think it's nice.
Yeah, I think it's nice. I mean, it's a couch. It's comfortable.
It's definitely feeling spooky.
Yeah, we got rid of our hideous fan, replaced the light. So that's what we did this week.
We did do that this week. Shout out to my boy Abraham. You know, he's the lit electrician.
Absolutely.
Yo, that's kind of a pun right there. The lit electrician.
Yeah.
Because without the electrician, you can't have light.
Oh my God, it is.
Which is literally what he installed.
Damn, that was a bar.
That's a bar,
That's
yeah.
a bar.
Yeah, because before that, you know, it just had like a fan that was coming down really far.
Huge.
It was installed in like 1990, right? And so it was like probably state of the art back then, but it was running on this dumb fucking remote control. The remote stopped working because you couldn't. It wasn't just an on and off switch. If that makes sense to anybody out there, like legitimately, like you'd have to turn the switch on and then hit the remote.
Yeah,
that's the way it was wired. But the remote just stopped working, no matter if you replaced the batteries or not. And the company that makes these remotes went defunct in like 1995 or some shit like that when I looked it up. So there was really no way for us to fix this fan light that was hanging down, and it was stupid.
It was like it was
ugly.
Purpose. It was ugly.
It was ugly. The fan was shaky.
It was so shaky,
when it
dude.
did work, and the light was just not nice.
Dude,
it was harsh.
Not even that. Remember the bowl that held the light was broken. So
right, the cover that goes over the
Yes.
bulb was broken. So if you did get it to turn on, it was just so harsh and in your like if your eye caught it.
If you looked up accidentally,
blind for the next 5 minutes.
You're out.
Yeah.
You're out.
So it became to the point where like every time I had people over, I was like embarrassed at my living room light situation. You know, I was like, I'm
It was embarrassing.
You know,
honestly, we turned on all the other lights, but we didn't have a central light.
We didn't have a central light, so it's very nice to have.
It is nice to have.
You know, and now it's just off of your phone.
It is.
You know what I mean? You know what's interesting? I wonder if in like another 30 years, someone's going to be like, these motherfuckers had the light on their phone? How inconvenient. Like what I'm supposed to do now, the app doesn't even work.
Definitely.
You know, the app is defunct.
Yeah?
You know?
It's possible. Well, here's the thing. The one out here at least works on a switch.
That's right, because we hooked it up so that it does also work on the switch. You just, you turn it on, you get the default light.
Right.
You know, you want to change colors or you want to, do anything cool with it, then you open up the app.
So today's the paranormal episode.
I'm very excited because you have some paranormal creatures to present today, right?
I do. But speaking of paranormal,
yeah,
we had a potential. We thought it was paranormal. You thought it was paranormal.
Earlier, yeah, there was an encounter that seemed like it was paranormal. So I'm out here chilling with Olo.
Yeah.
And just for context, I think a lot of pet owners will relate to this. When your pet is like settled into your lap and just seems so comfy, you really want to avoid getting up unless it's like dire need.
Absolutely.
Right? Because you just hate to disturb them. They just look so sweet and comfortable in your lap. You're like, oh, I feel like a dick getting up and disturbing your peace.
This is your position for however long it takes.
Basically until your bladder is about to explode, right? And so I'm posted up on my chair with Olo. I'm doing some work, catching up on work. I'm in the middle of it, drafting some emails and shit,
Right. Of course.
And then I hear bang in the kitchen. The sound was very much like a cupboard being open and shut.
Right. Like paranormal activity.
Like paranormal activity. And so it happened one time and I was like, all right, maybe I'm just hearing things, or maybe it was just somebody in the hallway that, that banged into the wall or whatever. And at the same time, we've had leaks here.
We have.
So we've had people repairing stuff on the roof. So I thought maybe somebody was back checking out a repair or whatever. So I didn't think too much of it. Still doing my work. Then again, couple of bangs. And again, it's a very particular, it's not just a random bang. It really does sound like a cupboard door opening and shutting. Right. And from my point of view on a chair, I can't see every cupboard in the kitchen. Yeah. So there could be cupboards opening and closing.
There could be. Totally.
So I was starting to get pretty freaked out about it. Then when Swasti came outside to the living room, I was like, yo, have you heard this banging? It seems like there might be a jumbie in here.
Gotta get that pint of broom.
Yeah, gotta get the pint of broom. Gotta gyrate this fucking place. But it turned out that she had been cleaning.
I was basically spraying the door to the bathtub is glass, like the shower area is glass, right?
Right.
So I was spraying that down.
So you were opening and closing the shower door.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was actually pretty freaky. And then she was like, let me go do that now and see if that's what it was.
Let's make sure.
And that's what it was. So yeah, we verified, crisis averted. We just wanted everyone to know.
We're safe.
We're safe.
No jumbies here.
Yeah.
No booths here.
Right. By the way, for those of you who are watching this and you're not listening and you're watching on YouTube, if you see our eyes keep averting like over here, it's because we're checking to see if we're still recording. We don't want any technical difficulties. We've had them before. Yeah. Right? Like recording entire podcasts that are just like, oh, it wasn't recording. Or it stopped recording midway. So, we just like to make sure, like, hey, still recording.
Exactly. And I keep checking for the camera. That's why I keep looking at my watch. I'm not looking at the fucking time. I'm watching the recording.
That's an important note.
To make sure that we're still rolling camera.
That we're still rolling, yeah.
Imagine if we're not. Then you're watching like half a video and then we cut to like a logo card.
Especially because we've had the experience before, and this is the subject probably for another episode, but where technology gives out on us when paranormal things are happening.
Yeah, that has happened. It's pretty spooky.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are my wave files looking okay? Sorry, I just want to make sure. I feel like, are they looking like less wavy than yours?
Mine are going to look wavier because, I'm loud.
Yeah, you are.
But, when we edit this in post, I'll make sure that your waves match mine.
They have to match or else I'm going to sound like I just can't speak.
Right. I mean, not that you can't speak, you're just going to sound quieter, but you're naturally quieter than I am.
This is true. We can hear you on a phone call if you're downstairs all the way up here.
Okay. I don't know if you had to violate me like that on the podcast, but okay.
I mean, I think people should know how loud you are. Be proud of it.
Okay, that's fine.
Own it.
Yeah. So without further ado, should we hop into today's episode?
Let's float into today's episode. I'm just trying to think of how ghosts move.
You were going for like a ghost
I was going for a ghost.
Or like a ghost joke or whatever.
A ghost joke.
Okay. Let's
silence. Just silence.
Let's float into today's episode.
That was pretty bad.
You tried. You win some, you lose some.
That's true. This time on the podcast, we're covering supernatural creatures from India.
Ooh, okay.
Which is where my family is from.
Amazing.
So just like your Guyanese.
Now we got some Indian folklore. Okay, I'm pretty excited for this because I'm probably actually not extremely familiar. I mean, of course, some of it transferred over to Guyana like we were discussing last time, like Churail and stuff like that, right? But there's going to be a lot of stuff that I'm probably not familiar with at all.
I'm going to be real. I specifically picked a few that I myself wasn't familiar with because I was like, wait a second, what if other people don't know about this?
So are there ones that we're going to talk about today that you and your family talk about?
Yeah. There's definitely some of those.
They're the subject of folklore that exists within your family.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Definitely. So it'll be
stuff that your grandparents and your parents have warned you about. That type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. That type of thing.
Dope.
That's always fun, right?
All right, yeah, let's get to it.
Spooky, a little scary.
But yeah, let's get to it.
So this first creature is actually like new. This is a creature that came up in the 2000s.
Okay.
Which is very, like, the early 2000s, which is, like, very interesting to me.
That is very intriguing.
Right?
Yeah, how much new folklore do you really hear? Not a lot.
You don't, which is why I was like, oh, shit, gotta talk about this one.
Okay, what's it called?
It's called the Munochwa.
Munochwa.
It's, like, very literal. Mu is face, Noch is scratch, Wa is, like, the thing that, kind of. So it's like, this is the thing that scratches your face.
Oh, wow.
I could be the Munochwa.
You could be, yeah.
Come on.
The entire internet is up in arms about that.
It's true. If you're not watching, I have really, really fucking long nails.
She does.
So that's what this is about. So I could be the face scratcher.
You could be.
So according to reports, the Munochwa presented itself kind of like a bright UFO that scratches the shit out of its victims' faces.
Like a bright UFO?
Yeah.
Well, how fucking big is it? Is this like Nope?
No.
No, it's not.
Nope. It's not. It's like, it's small enough that it's in your face. So here's other descriptions.
But is it flying? Because
it's flying. It's flying. So there are descriptions that vary. Some say it resembles a football. So like, you know, about yay big.
Okay.
And then others claim it's more like a tortoise.
Okay.
But everyone agrees that it's super bright.
Gotcha.
This shit comes in like ball lightning. The first reports of attacks by the Munochwa came from rural areas in the Mirzapur district.
Mirzapur.
Yes.
Yo.
Yes.
Kalin Bhaiya. They should feature the Munochwa in season 3 of Mirzapur.
They should.
If y'all are listening to this, there you go. So you could switch it into a paranormal show.
You could.
You see what I'm saying?
They're not sponsoring us either, but it's a good show and it's on Prime.
Great fucking show.
Mirzapur.
Yeah.
Look it up.
Din, 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 din.
When I was writing this, their theme song definitely went through my head.
Yeah. Okay, so first spotted in rural areas of Mirzapur.
Yes.
Yo, okay, that's interesting.
It is, right? And then it spread.
Is the lore all around UP?
It became like a frenzied thing.
Okay.
After that, it was the talk of town in Kanpur.
Okay.
It was rumored to attack its prey in the dead of night, and it would jump on your face and scratch the ever-loving shit out of it.
Like to death?
In some cases.
In some cases.
In some cases.
So there are reported deaths.
There are reported deaths.
After encounters with this creature.
But there are also people who survived.
And does this creature seek out people when they are alone? Or are there any group attacks?
No, yeah, there's some group attacks too, I think.
There's group attacks.
Yeah.
So there's groups of people that got the shit scratched out of their face.
Yeah, like just hopping from one to the other. I don't know, bro.
Wow, I don't want to laugh about anybody being attacked by a paranormal creature,
like,
but it's just it's a sort of cartoonish. I mean, I was imagining just like Tasmanian devil.
Oh yeah, I totally see that.
Just fucking going back and forth. He's just fucking shit up as he goes.
Yeah.
Except this creature is going back and forth from person to person,
no.
scratching the shit out of your face,
scratching the shit out of your face,
and then you and your homies.
Yeah, and here's the thing:
just wipe your whole squad.
Yeah, I don't know what it gets from that. Like, this was never told.
No particular motivation other than just being a dick.
Other than just being a dick.
Is there a gender assigned to the entity?
No, there's no gender.
Okay, and is there a particular gender that all the victims seem to have?
It's like equal amounts.
Equal amounts. Okay.
Wow. There's no like prejudice here.
Right. I'm asking because like Chirail, for example, targets
I totally
men.
get it. And we are going to cover some who do have preferences.
Right.
So that is a very valid question.
Approximately how many encounters have you read?
I didn't like read separate encounters. These were basically like news articles from like Times of India.
Right.
And it like grouped
This
them.
was in the Times of India?
Yes, this was in Times of India.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So like there were 7 people who died. There were a bunch of attacks.
7 people who died.
Yeah, reportedly 7, and then
and
injured
so
several
so
others.
this was it reported then that these people who died, was there a coroner's report?
I didn't see any.
So meaning one wasn't mentioned in the article.
No.
Because I'd be interested to see, because of course, right, this is the kind of thing where it could occur that they were attacked by an animal.
Yeah.
Or a human being.
Well, we'll get into what like the scientific theory. There was a theory that only in the 2000s, it has not happened since.
Okay, so I guess we can't say that it didn't exist before 2000,
but
we can say that it hasn't been reported before 2000.
Yeah,
Is
and
that
then
correct?
I couldn't find any reports of it after like the early 2000s.
Oh, so
either.
it's in that era and it's not an ongoing thing.
Not that I have read. I could be very wrong. If I am,
Are all the encounters that you've read around UP or anywhere else in India?
All the ones that I read were around UP.
Interesting. So if you're listening to this and you're from India or you've been to India and you've had an encounter with this creature.
Yeah, with the Munochwa.
Or if you know anyone that has, we would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear. I'm very intrigued. I'd love some clarity on this. The Times of India, were there interviews with people that survived?
I'm going to kind of talk about a few things that took place here, actually. Yeah.
Fill me in.
Okay. So, first and foremost, this is important to note. The doctors who treated the victims claimed that all of them received similar scratches or burns, but then they said all the scars seemed to have been inflicted in a pre-planned manner. So they're like...
A pre-planned manner?
Yeah, they're like, these people weren't scratched by something. They like did this, basically.
Well, what if it was a mass prank?
It's possible.
It's just like people that took it to the next level. They're like, yo, to do this prank, we're going to scratch the shit out of our own faces.
The doctors clearly don't believe, at least in this one article.
Okay, so they were not chalking it up to that.
Yeah.
Does that mean they were saying that each person's scars matched the last person?
Yeah, like the patterns were similar enough.
So perhaps they used the same tool to scratch each other or whatever.
Right.
Okay.
This is where I might mess up pronunciations. In the Nawabganj area of Kanpur, a man named Shiv was sleeping inside his jewelry shop where he was allegedly attacked by the new Munochwa.
Okay.
And his nephew claimed to have seen it.
So his nephew was also there?
Yeah. So
Okay.
they survived it. And apparently this nephew was like super traumatized by it. So like he just straight was like passed out after.
By witnessing the attack?
Yeah, he was just like traumatized by just like seeing the...
And Shiv survived?
Yeah, they both were fine. Like they both survived. I mean, not
well,
fine,
Shiv
I
sounds
guess.
like he wasn't fine. Shiv was fucked up,
They were
right?
fine. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, they were alive.
Right. I wonder if it's like a supernatural thing. I wonder if it's like a Harry Potter scar where it burns later on, or
when you feel it nearby.
Yeah, that kind of thing. I don't know.
That's a really interesting point. In the neighboring village of Shuklaganj in the Unnao
That's your
district.
Ganj.
Yeah, my Ganj.
Nice. Your family's Ganj.
The family's Ganj, not actually. For anyone
Maybe.
else. Well, maybe.
You can't say for sure.
That's true.
Yeah.
You're right. 3 women and 1 man were attacked by it late at night.
Okay, as a group, they were attacked.
This was unclear to me.
Okay, because I'm wondering if in the same night it just attacked 4 individuals separately.
Or 4 together.
Or 4 at the same time.
I didn't get clarity. Times of India did not provide me with that.
Okay.
So it could have been either way.
Maybe we should message the authors of the articles and see if they
I was like
provide
thinking that. I was like, can you give me more than what's here?
some insight, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit more. I just found this so fascinating, though, that it was this massive
I find it very fascinating myself.
It is, right? So people started demanding better protection from the police, which in turn sparked violence.
Which in turn sparked violence?
Yes. One person,
meaning like violent protests?
Yeah, well, basically, one person died in the town of Sitapur where the police fired shots to disperse a crowd. Oh my God.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So the police fired a shot to disperse a crowd that was assembled
to demand protection
against
the Munochwa. They demanded that the authorities capture Munochwa. Wow. And it was a big crowd. This is a crowd of 10,000 people.
Listen. The authorities there can't even capture the fucking human beings that are responsible for the much worse atrocities that take place there. You think they could capture the fucking Munochwa?
That's fact. I mean, the Munochwa was flying.
The Munochwa was
flying around.
I mean, yeah, even if the police there were competent, they probably wouldn't be the appropriate people to go to. You'd need some kind of a Ghostbuster.
I was just going to say, who you going to call?
Who you going to call? Yeah. Certainly not the police.
Certainly not the police.
Not over there.
No. Not anywhere. I'm not calling the police if there's a paranormal entity.
What are they going to do about it?
Nothing. They're not going to do
absolutely
shit.
Nothing, no. So was it reported that anybody sought protection from like any religious folks?
No.
You know what I mean?
I didn't see that.
You would go to a pundit or an imam.
I didn't see that.
Or a priest.
It was mainly
whatever your religion may be.
Yeah, it was mainly the police. I'm not sure why.
Interesting. But did you say that the crowd was of 10,000 people?
10,000 people.
That's what the article said.
That's what the article said.
That's because that's a lot of fucking people.
It's a lot of people.
And they were assembled. They posted up where, like right outside the police station.
Yeah, basically. I mean, this is a mass hysteria.
Right.
This caused hysteria.
I mean, but that's very mass.
It's very bad. But there were a lot of people sleeping outside and stuff. There were a lot of unhoused people.
Yeah.
So, like, they're panicking now because they're like, well, shit.
Because they feel vulnerable.
They feel vulnerable. And then there's people who want to sleep on their roof on a hot day because,
Right.
Right. They feel like their autonomy is being robbed because they're scared of this thing landing on their face in the middle of the night and just scratching the shit out of it.
I mean, yeah, that is scary. It's very tragic, honestly, that someone died during the protest.
I know. People who are supposed to be protecting you.
So I guess the protest ended at that point?
Yeah, basically. That was it.
I'm assuming the police never caught Munochwa.
The police, nobody ever caught Munochwa.
No one ever did.
Yeah, and Munochwa kind of just faded away after all this.
Back to the deaths. How many deaths again?
I read that there were 7 deaths at least.
So, 7 is a lot.
It is a lot.
For something that's not explicable, right?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I would be very interested to read like the coroner's report.
Me too.
Or hear what the analysis was on, whether this could have been done by an animal, human being.
Well, they had their theories.
They had it, which were what?
The literal ball of lightning, like that phenomenon of.
Oh, what you discussed before.
Yeah,
that's what the coroner said.
Not the coroner.
Oh,
but like scientists.
Okay, so it's unclear from the internet, at least.
Yeah.
What directly the coroner said.
Yeah, no, I didn't see what the coroner said.
Okay.
I wish. They're not going to publish that.
Yeah. I'm surprised there's not like a fucking documentary about this. If there's not a documentary that exists, somebody should make it.
Absolutely.
And I'm giving that idea out there for free because it's not going to be me.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So, if you're the type of person that is down to do that,
do it.
Then you should, because I'd like to watch it.
Absolutely.
I'll
support you.
I'll support you. I'll share the shit out of that.
Yeah.
That would be a cool project. Like, you find the people who have survived it, talk to them, talk to the coroners that examine these dead bodies, talk to the scientists that have their theories about the lab-made cricket.
Grasshopper.
I'd like to hear more about that.
Yeah.
Is there more about it?
I mean, there probably, I didn't see that much more about it.
So what I'm saying is that is all you have that there was a scientist that suggested that this was done by a lab-made.
There were scientists, yeah.
That this was done by a lab-made bioluminescent grasshopper.
Yes.
That was violent as shit.
Yes.
Did they say? Did they say? That reminds me. Please submit your haunted Wild High stories.
Yeah, I'm gonna cough a lot.
Did they say that this was a larger than average grasshopper?
I didn't see anything about that.
Okay, but I guess him being made in a lab could open him up to any sort of powers.
That's true.
Maybe he flies.
Yeah.
At the speed of light.
Yeah.
Maybe he's gigantic.
Yeah.
Did you hear that noise?
I did.
What was that?
I don't know. Maybe it's the Munochwa.
Fuck that, yo.
He's like, I'm coming out.
Yeah. Don't talk. He's like, keep my name out your mouth. This grasshopper theory was one of my favorite things.
It's a really interesting theory.
So I guess aside from the potential existence of the Munochwa, I'm interested in the potential existence of this grasshopper. Because that's a whole separate thing. Because what is there? Did you look up anything about like what was the point of making this grasshopper?
I didn't.
Because those who suggested that it could have been this, they didn't just make that up out of thin air, right? They must have been aware of some ongoing scientific project to make mutant grasshoppers.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they.
And for was this made for
war?
For
maybe?
War? Yeah, for military purposes.
I feel like
this could be dangerous.
Yeah, I mean that would be the point.
That would be the point.
Yeah.
And one just got free, or multiple just got free.
Yeah.
And they were wreaking havoc on people's faces.
Yeah, they were going up.
Specifically.
Yeah.
That's another question. These people didn't suffer scratches anywhere but the face.
No, it was specifically your face.
Which is hence the name.
Hence the name.
This is such an interesting creature and phenomenon, especially because of how recent it is.
Yeah, it's not like ancient.
Yeah, the fact that it's that recent makes it so that if somebody wanted to, they could try and investigate a little bit more, right? Because a lot of these people will still be around, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Early 2000s.
Interesting.
A wild play.
Have you spoken to your family about this at all?
I haven't.
So if this is a recent phenomenon, and I'm sure it was probably big news around UP in general, probably in India as a whole, right? But I'm especially around UP because that's where the attacks were happening.
Right.
That means that your nani must have heard of it.
I'm sure.
Right?
I
mean, she keeps herself pretty up to date with the news and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm curious as to whether she heard about it when it was going on. She never told you about it.
No, I mean, I never heard of it myself.
Okay, you should ask her.
I will. I will, and then I'll bring it back.
Yeah, I'm very curious as to if
she
maybe she knows someone who's had an encounter.
Yeah, maybe. So that wraps up Munochwa. No recent attacks, like I said. Kind of just stayed in the 2000s.
And also stayed in that geographic area.
Yeah.
Okay.
It didn't travel. All right. Next up, we've got Pisach.
Pisach. That's I'm familiar with that name.
You are.
Has that been mentioned in bhajans?
Yeah. Yeah, in the Hanuman Chalisa.
Right?
Yeah.
Is it like Bhoot Pisach na Yave?
Yeah.
Look at me remembering my Hanuman Chalisa.
I mean, Hanuman Chalisa was a huge part of my childhood. As I've mentioned before, I was a person with a really hyperactive imagination.
Yeah.
And I constantly thought I was being haunted by ghosts.
You know why I remember that particular line so well?
Why?
I had a book, I'm pretty sure. It was an illustrated version of the Hanuman Chalisa. And on that page, there was such a like dope illustration of like, it was like a pisach, I guess, or whatever. It was a paranormal demonic creature.
What did it look like?
I can't describe it. I mean, I can see it in my head, but I can't describe it to you.
What, like, did it have any specific parts that stood out?
Like teeth, like sharp, jagged teeth and stuff. But in the drawing, the creature was scared. And so I always remember that illustration. It was such a cool and fun illustration.
Yeah.
I guess to dissect that line a little bit, is pisach and bhuth two separate things?
Yes.
It is
two separate things.
So the line is talking about both those things.
Yes.
Don't want to hear his name, otherwise they're bouncing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bhuth
Okay.
just kind of refers to a general ghost.
Right.
And pisach is what I'm going to tell you about.
Okay, let's hear.
So pisach is a flesh-eating, blood-sucking demon.
Wow.
They have
So that's exactly what was drawn.
Perfect.
Yeah.
They have red, swollen eyes and bulging veins. Did you see any of that?
Yes, for sure.
Damn, I wish you had this book on you right now.
Yeah, I wonder if it's back at the crib.
Okay.
Maybe we could find it on our next trip.
Yeah, that would be sick. They're nocturnal.
Okay, yeah.
And they're said to haunt cremation grounds.
Ah. Specifically?
Yeah, they
Okay.
linger around there.
Okay.
They can shapeshift, and according to some legends, have the power of invisibility. Some say they possess people to feed on other people,
Okay.
and they can also
Fully feed, like straight cannibalize?
suck the blood.
Just
It's
suck
kind
the
of-
blood. Okay,
yeah.
that's what they do.
Yeah. And they can also mess with their human host's mind and drive them to insanity, and of course, make them sick.
So classic possession.
Classic possession, of course. According to some stories, anyone who sees the pisach will die in 9 months.
In 9 months.
In 9 months.
Are there any documented deaths?
Not that I saw.
Okay.
Not in 9 months. Nothing like that.
Okay.
So there are 3 stages of the pisach attack. The pisach picks on the weakest link in the family and enters them through a vice, whether that be food, drink, or sex.
Get out of here.
Deadass.
Those are the 3 vices that he can choose from?
I mean, that's what I read. There's probably more,
Food, drink, or sex?
but those were the ones that I read.
Is smoking on there?
I'm sure it is.
Okay.
I'm sure,
But sex is considered a vice.
sex is a vice,
Okay.
according to pisach.
All right. If Pisach was going to get me, that's where he'd get me.
That's where he'd get you.
Yeah.
Basically, here's the thing: it's not just those 3. It's anything that provides a sensory pleasure.
I see. Okay.
So
So
anything.
that could be subjective.
It could be.
Just seeking out sensory pleasure is a vice in itself. Is that?
Honestly,
Damn, homie.
yeah.
Okay. So when you say that he possesses you through the vice, that means what exactly? Let's stick on sex for a second. If he's possessing you through sex, that's happening how?
You know, I'm gonna tell you.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you. So basically, the pisach ensures that the person who they want to be their victim meets someone who can pollute them through these vices. So
what
there's
does that mean? So if it's drinking, then that means that you meet someone that can give you alcohol?
Basically, like it wants to make sure that you are the weakest link.
Okay. So who's the person that it meets? Like a pisach? Like
It could be a friend.
Friend?
It could be a family.
Is this someone that's in cahoots with the pisach?
No.
Okay.
As I continue, he basically just causes mass chaos.
Got it.
It's kind of his thing.
Okay. So make sure that you meet. So if it's sex, then
Yeah,
he makes sure that you meet someone that you want to have sex with.
exactly.
Okay.
He's going to kind of just he's basically making shit happen.
But how does he possess you through? So let's say if it's the drinking, is he in the alcohol when you drink it?
Listen, man, I don't know. I didn't see that.
Okay, so you don't know how he because you said he possesses you through the vice.
Yeah. I think basically once you commit said vice, you're getting possessed.
You just open yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not that he's possessing you through the vice.
Yeah.
Is that you committing the vice is rendering you vulnerable to possession in
He's
the
just
more classic way.
Yeah, he's just
Just jump right in.
yeah, once you do that thing.
Okay, because I'm thinking if he's possessing you through sex, that's what is he just going right through? What?
Your ectogasmic slime.
Yeah, for real. I want to take a step back here before, because you said that he selects the weakest link.
Yeah.
Is this only people that are around cremation grounds?
Yeah, basically you have to come through the cremation area.
Got it. So if you avoid those, then you're good.
Yeah.
But if you have a death in the family, then you probably can't.
He's going to see the whole family and then figure out who the weakest link is.
Got it. So it's like at a funeral.
Yeah.
He's looking for victims.
Exactly.
Got it. So are there things that you can or are you supposed to do when you're there to prevent that? I guess other than not committing vices?
Yeah, nothing that I saw.
Nothing that you saw?
Nothing that I saw.
So if he feels like you're the weakest link, you're almost fucked. Unless you don't
commit said vice.
Any vices.
Yeah.
But it sounds like if you're seeking any sort of sensory pleasure, so that means the next time that you eat.
Yeah.
Or that you're eating because you want to enjoy the food.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. He's nuts. Oh, what can I tell you?
Okay, so that's step one.
Well, we're not done with step one.
Oh, we're not even done?
No.
Oh, okay. All right.
So the Pisach in step one butters up their victim, and they just basically tell them that they are the best person to ever exist. They want to make sure their victim feels like
Hang on. So the Pisach is now talking to this person?
Yeah.
In Pisach form?
That I don't know. I think it's like a whisper in your ear situation.
It's a whisper in your ear.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Okay, and he's just flattering the person.
Yeah, he's flattering
boosting their ego.
Yes.
By whispering in the ear. And at this point, the person is not wondering who the fuck is whispering in my ear.
Well, I think they're already taken, right?
They're already possessed.
It's like, yeah, this is post possession.
Well, if it's post possession, why has he got to whisper in their ear?
Because this is important for the rest of his plans. Then the Pisach shows this person visions of what their future could be together. So I guess
together.
So this is
the Pisach and them.
Yeah, because this is
my Pisach and me.
They're I'm trying to find a way to explain. This is it's not a full possession quite yet. He needs to get a whole hold of you.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So he's just he's trying to
Have you read any personal encounters with Pisachs?
I did not. I was more curious about the
Okay, because I guess let me just put out there, if you have had an encounter with a Pisach, I'd love to hear about this. Number one, what was your vice?
Yeah.
But number two, I'd love to hear about this whispering part, were you just kind of chilling at the crib and you heard some whisper in your ear, yo, bro.
Or was it in your head?
Or was it in your head? You just hear yo, bro, you lit.
You the shit.
You the shit, my guy. And then you're no doubt, or are you who the fuck is whispering in my head right now? You know what I mean? You mentioned there was nothing you could do that you read about to prevent
nothing I read about
to Pisach from choosing you.
Yeah.
At this point, when you're in preliminary possession stages, is there anything you could do now? If you hear these voices and you're still lucid enough to be
I didn't read anything about that.
Okay. What does he have in mind for your future together?
Well, his whole goal is to fully possess you.
And then what?
Right. So he's just he's basically showing you these amazing, everything you want is happening in these visions with him.
Okay. I imagine then the only reason he'd be doing this is because he needs your consent on some level to possess you.
Yeah. To fully possess you.
To fully possess you.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I didn't see anything about that. He's just going to go at it.
Okay. But
it's going to basically, okay.
Yeah.
He's feeding off your negativity.
Okay.
Which in doing this, you're going to start trusting him. Right.
So, but back to my point then, if he needs you to trust him, that means that at some level, he needs your consent to do this. Otherwise, there would be no point in that.
Well, here's the thing. It's not quite that. So basically, when the two now are very close, the victim and the Pisach, right? Because Pisach has buttered you up. You've built trust.
Mm-hmm.
You're close now. They will start to put distance, sow seeds of distrust between any family or friends that this person has by showing these friends and family members as demons in the visions.
Okay.
Or by just whispering negative thoughts about them.
So when you say, but when you say now you guys are close, right? That's you going on your day-to-day life being oh, this entity is whispering in my ear and he's kind of my homie. I fuck with him and that's not weird for me.
I guess.
And, he's telling me I'm pretty dope and, he's bigging me up a lot, which I like. And he's showing me that my friends and family are not great people.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what's happening?
Yeah.
And whoever this victim is, none of them think that's weird.
I guess not.
Okay.
I guess not. Now that this has happened and he's telling you a bunch of shit about your family and friends,
mm-hmm.
you start to basically get into conflicts with your friends and family and you have negative thoughts about these people.
Right.
So now the Pisach basically feeds.
I can imagine then that any child, like especially when you get to like teenage years or something, you start rebelling. The families are probably immediately like, "Oh, Pisach got this motherfucker."
Probably. The Pisach feeds on this negative energy and gains health. So basically, it's almost like, I feel like it's like a video game.
Did you also say that his goal is to suck blood?
Yeah, that's part of this too.
At the same time, has he been sucking any blood?
No, I don't think quite yet.
Right now, he's just sucking negative energy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Negative energy is a part of this.
Okay.
Part of this. And this also weakens everybody else. So you're sucking energy, and then you're going to start sucking blood. And everyone's getting weaker, and you're getting stronger.
Who's everyone? Your family and friends?
Family, friends, you.
And you.
And you.
Okay.
You're all going to get fucked. Basically.
You're all fucked.
Yeah. Stage 2. Now the victim.
That was all stage 1.
That was all stage 1. Now the victim is going to visit their friends or their family. They bring that negativity with them. This will immediately now cause a fight within the family because he's just told you so much shit at this point. Pisach has told you so much shit that you're going to start fighting. And when you start fighting, the Pisach is feeding on that, getting stronger, but now also starts controlling the minds of the family members. And then the Pisach goes around like one of those shitty relatives that you probably have and starts talking shit about each family member. He's a gossip to the other family members, and seeds of distrust are now sown.
Okay.
So the bad vibes in the house are increasing.
Now that you're speaking a little bit more about this, I think I may have a better understanding of what's been happening before. Is it not that the Pisach is just like talking to you as a creature? He's inside your head making it sound like it's you talking to yourself. I have a hard time explaining this. Yes. So this entire time you're not aware that there's a Pisach.
Yeah, it's basically like guiding your brain.
It's guiding your thoughts.
Yes.
And you just think that you're having these thoughts.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. That's what didn't make sense, because I'm like, how are you just walking around? There's this random fucking entity being like, yo, son, you're the shit and your family sucks. Fuck them, right? And you're not like, okay, but who the fuck is this?
Okay, this has clearly been a big miscommunication.
Big, gigantic miscommunication. And I asked multiple times, and you failed to clarify.
Listen.
Failed to clarify.
Listen, I just... Getting put on the spot, like, you know, the bad vibes in the house have increased. The Pisach is
and he's
having
controlling
a
mad
feast.
minds, not just yours anymore.
Yeah, he's feeding on this, becoming stronger. The entire family is now weakening.
Right.
And definitely sucking some bloods in the process.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, and we got our final stage.
In what way?
I mean, because this is an actual creature, too.
Correct, but like in what way is he sucking the blood? Like through your neck? Like where?
That I don't know.
Because you said he's definitely sucking blood in the process.
Well, yeah, because he is. That's part of his
Who's?
thing.
Just the target? Or the host?
The goal is everyone. The goal is everyone.
And is nobody realizing that they're getting their blood sucked?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I didn't read accounts of that. The main thing was me looking up this creature.
Okay.
I was very curious about this creature. I figured if we had any accounts, I wanted them from people we know.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Yeah. Or people we don't know, but people who are listening.
Right.
Stage 3. Now... This is going beyond. This is the goal, okay? The family members are now making friends with more people who have bad vibes. And this leads to more fights, emotional turmoil, unhappiness, unfulfillment, and then resorting to black magic in the name of pujas, becoming intolerant. So it's basically, he's just trying to create this cesspool of shit.
Okay.
And now he's just so strong that he's controlling more households, societies, countries, leading to utter chaos and finally destruction. So that's the end goal of the Pisach, if it can get there.
Got it.
Its ultimate goal is like world destruction.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's basically the end of the Pisach.
Gotcha. And you have no documented encounters?
No, because there's just so much information.
Is this one that your family talks about?
I have definitely heard the Pisach being mentioned.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone's actually encountered
Has anyone
it.
in your family ever like warned you against going to a
No.
cremation ground?
No.
No.
Next up, we've got the Yakshi.
The Yakshi.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure I've heard that name.
Okay. Well, this is actually a really interesting one because Yakshas and Yakshis are nature spirits and they're associated with fertility.
Okay.
They have different descriptions and depictions.
Are they positive then?
I'm going to get into that.
Okay.
So the Yakshas, like one of the ways they're described is like a pot-bellied figure, you know, fertility. And the Yakshis are baddies. They're beautiful, voluptuous women. They're like iced out. They got jewels.
Oh, they're iced out
yeah,
too?
yeah. They got jewels.
All right.
Okay. And they're known to be really benevolent. However, as time passed, a few of them took on malevolent characteristics and started haunting trees, luring weary travelers to rest under them, and sucking their blood. I don't know why this decision was
I was about
made.
to ask you, so why did they become malevolent?
I couldn't tell you. I don't know the why.
So before, when they were not malevolent, they didn't need blood to survive?
No, I don't think they need the blood to survive. I think they're just doing it.
They're just doing it for no reason.
For no reason.
Currently in the world, does that mean that all yakshas and yakshis that exist have gone bad, or
No,
there's still good ones?
they're still good ones.
Do they fight each other?
Probably.
Is this a movie? This could be a movie.
Now, this is really interesting. In Kerala, yakshis are like vampires.
Are they also still baddies?
Oh,
Nice.
yeah.
Okay.
They're like, that's how they're luring their victims. Cause
I see. So just you see a yakshi, you're like, damn.
I gotta go home
Right.
with her.
And then when you get there, you're fucked.
You fucked. So some say that her legs don't touch the ground when she walks, but you can still hear her anklets jangling.
You know, if you see an attractive woman whose legs
She's
touch the
floating,
ground.
you run.
You should probably think that's weird anyway.
You should, but maybe you're not paying attention to her legs.
Okay, yeah. Does she wear long dresses to kind of cover that up?
I didn't see anything about her like attire.
Because that would be smart.
It would be. Her laugh sounds like music. And
Her laugh sounds like music.
Yeah, it's just beautiful, you know? It's like a musical laugh.
Everything about her is beautiful.
Everything's amazing. And it renders you unaware of your surroundings.
So it's kind of like a siren then.
Yes. Very
Siren
much so.
song.
Yeah, very much so. She approaches her victim, who's alone at night and likely a man.
Mm-hmm.
And she asks for chunambu, which is a dash of lime.
A dash of lime.
Yeah.
Do people generally just carry limes on them?
It's like I can't explain what it looks like, but like a lot of people have this to put on bond leaves and stuff.
Got it.
And then she's going to lure you to her home, which is said to be atop of the devil tree.
So she's like, yo, come back to this tree with me?
She's like, come home with me. And then you end up at her, but because you're unaware of your surroundings,
Okay.
now you're on top of her devil tree.
Oh, I see.
And there, she sucks your blood and drains the life out of you.
Are there encounters, documented encounters?
Yeah, there are. There are. I personally didn't go through all of them, but that's like, they're all basically like
So you
that.
read about like a body being found.
I didn't read about a body being found, but I've read like people heard that, you know, this happened to somebody.
Got it.
That sort of a thing. Yeah.
Got it.
So like that's the Yakshi.
Have you ever heard about it from your family?
I have not. This is one I have not. But the next one I have heard from
Okay.
my family about.
You just described a lot of yakshi. What about the yaksha?
This main thing was about the Yakshi. The Yaksha and the Yakshi are just like the male and the female. But this was mainly about the Yakshi.
So apparently the yaksha is not that malevolent, is what you're saying?
I think there are allegedly cases of some. However, the Yakshi is the one that we're focusing on here.
I guess because he's not as attractive, he can't just lure people back that easily.
Yeah.
Right.
He's not a baddie.
He's not a baddie.
He's not a baddie.
His laughter doesn't sound like music.
No.
Right. Okay.
He's not iced out.
He's not voluptuous.
He's not voluptuous.
Yeah.
And now we're moving on to our last, the Dayan. So according to folklore, the Dayan was a woman who was mistreated by her family or who died during childbirth as a result of family neglect. She returns as a Dayan.
Interesting. The Chirail or Chirail also died during childbirth.
Yeah.
So that's a similarity.
There is a similarity. I actually have a thing about that here.
Okay.
The Dayan versus the Chirail. She returns as a Dayan and haunts the family, drinking the blood of male family members.
Okay.
That's what she prefers. She'll start with the youngest male in the family,
Damn.
drain his blood, and that will transform him into an old man, which is kind of similar to Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
Yeah.
So after that, she moves on to the other men and just continues this till she's done with all of them. And a Dayan is also said to target young families and young women. Depends on her preference. She takes on the form of a beautiful young woman and hunts young men. She'll seduce lone travelers into accompanying her, and then she imprisons them and feeds on their age and blood. One legend says that a Dayan will keep men as prisoners, using them sexually until they die.
Damn. Until they die?
Yeah.
That's vicious.
Yeah. It's brutal.
That's dark, man.
It is. It really goes there. She really goes there. Another legend says that if a young man seduced by the Dayan eats food she cooks, he'll go back to his village an old man the next morning. We talked about this with Ol Haig, actually. But similarly, people can't seem to separate Dayans with women in real life. So some women and young girls are believed to be Dayans and are sometimes tortured and killed.
God, that's so fucked up.
Yeah, and this usually happens in rural areas.
That's so fucked up.
It is.
Why can't people just fucking be normal?
I know. Like, just think.
Just use your fucking head.
Yeah. In fact, witchcraft is a major social problem in Jharkhand, and a large number of women are accused as Dians and killed.
Where's that at?
It's in East India. It's a state in East India.
And that's still going on today?
Yeah. I didn't read any recent stories. I did not want to go through and depress myself with it.
Yeah.
Just because it's the torture and killing of women and children, and I just, you know. Dians worship, they worship evil black magic spirits. So,
such as?
Just like spirits,
like
demons.
Like the Pisach, perhaps?
Yeah, just like evil spirits. Okay. They worship them. So Dian is sometimes used interchangeably with the term Churel.
Right. We actually learned that on our previous episode.
Yes, we did. And we're coming back. This is full circle. Yeah. But there are conceptual and cultural differences between them. A Churel is a vengeful ghost created via the death of a woman during pregnancy or childbirth.
Right.
And the Churel has preternatural powers similar to a witch. The North Indian states believe that the Churel lives near graveyards or in forests and can shapeshift. She lures and kills young men. In the western and eastern parts of India, the Churel is said to look like an old woman. She lures small children away from their families to kill them and eat them to stay, keeping herself young.
More of a classic witch.
Yes, which is like very similar to Sanderson sisters as well.
Yeah, very much so.
So like there are similarities, there are some slight differences. Yeah. Like in that she presents herself as an old woman. Right. Dian doesn't necessarily do that.
So it could be two separate entities. It could be one and the same, just different areas have different experiences, and so it diverged.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, if anyone has an experience with either.
Yeah, we want to hear about it.
We want to hear about it.
We have to hear about it.
Let us know.
Yeah, for sure. Please do. So those were my supernatural creatures from India.
Nice. This was a fun episode.
It was.
I learned a lot.
Ghosts are always fun.
I learned a lot. I definitely want to learn more about that lab-made grasshopper.
I know.
You know, is he still out there? Living his best life?
Maybe.
Just living dormant until he wants to strike again?
Yeah. Maybe they're like procreating, and like when the next plague comes.
Imagine that.
That would be so terrible.
And then we're all fucked?
Yeah.
Damn.
Everyone's getting their face scratched.
Yeah. Well, before we sign off for today, we want to thank our sponsors.
Absolutely.
So first of all, big shout out to Apogee for hooking us up with these hype mics. If you are any type of content creator and you need a microphone, the Apogee hype mic is the way to go.
It is. It's so easy. You just plug it into your phone like we're doing right now.
Plugs into your phone, plugs into your computer. It's really just plug and play. You don't have to be an audio engineer to use it.
Yeah.
Hit up Apogee. Tell them Tenn and Swasti sent you. They'll hook you up.
Absolutely.
And we want to give another shout out to our sponsors over at Ghost Bed.
I sleep like the dead on that thing.
We do. We love telling ghost stories on our Ghost Bed in addition to sleeping on it. But it really is the most comfortable mattress I have ever slept on. And if you guys want to check it out, you can use the discount code Buick for 20% off.
And I just want to add that they have cooling technology in them.
That mattress is always cool.
Always cool.
I never felt uncomfortable on it.
No, and same with their pillows.
And same with the pillows.
You never got to flip over for the cool side of the pillow because it's already there.
It's always cool. And let me just give another shout out to our boy Adam Eugenio.
Absolutely.
For hooking up the theme music that may be fading in just about now.
Thank you so much, Adam.
Big ups to Adam. And with that, thanks for listening to another episode of Ectoplasm and Evil. We'll see you next time.
Or will we?
Ah.